Is the party going to consider the female gender, especially those who have come out to aspire for this position? I do not see myself going against the party. I would engage the party. I would let the party know that I have an interest in this.
This is the Hallowed Chambers on TVC News. I am TVC News On.
Since 2008, the Bureau of Public Enterprises and Nigerdock Limited have been enmeshed in post-privatization crisis over pre-privatization liabilities alleged not to have been disclosed before the actual privatization. BPE had claimed ignorance of the existing liabilities by the legacy company, Nigerdock, which led to a legal tussle between the duo. This intervention by the Parliament is to find an amicable solution to the dispute between the two parties so as to attract investors. The agency says it has yet to be given any information on the issue of claims and settlements, which Nigerdock disagreed with, just as the bank also spoke on its involvement.
The purported transaction between Ministry of Transport and Navimo had no legal basis. Ministry of Transport had no ownership of a company. The company was owned by Mofi and BPE. I don't understand how Ministry of Transport could have sold to Navimo. They did not give them any share certificate.
Been from the date of privatization of Nigerdock, hosting the BPE continuously at every instance that they request a visit or a monitoring exercise. I have personally taken members of the BPE around Nigerdock.
Try to resolve this matter amicably. We've had discussions with Nigerdock to write off some portion of the loan, agree repayment terms, and use that as terms of settlement. That was way back in September 2022. But unfortunately, Nigerdock did not meet the obligation.
And after listening to all parties, the committee gives its verdict.
That the subcommittee of the committee is constituted to address the issues of 30% claim of Navimo and the judgment of Polaris Bank against Nigerdock by engaging with the parties with a view to resolving the issues mutually, amicably, and report back to the committee within 7 working days.
As part of the resolutions at the end of the panel inquiry, BPE and Nigerdock are to work together to recover all missing title documents. Nigerdock is also to write BPE on the delisting issue.
Consultations, deliberations and negotiations continues as the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly draws nearer. The debate and advocacy has also centered on who is most worthy, competent and capable to ascend the exalted seat of the President of the Senate for the 10th National Assembly. This group of non-serving lawmakers, including those from the Second to the Fourth Republic, is the latest to add its voice to the ongoing debate. They insist that the leader of the 10th National Assembly must be someone who has earned the confidence and support of the party's leadership and his peers. And for them, that man for the job is Senator Godswill Akpabio. The convener of the non-serving senators is Bashir Ladu, a senator in the 7th National Assembly.
We are of the opinion that in the spirit of equity, fairness, political expedience, and also following extensive consultations with stakeholders, hereby express our total support for the zoning of the position of the President of the 10th Senate to the South-South geopolitical zone of Nigeria. We also affirm our unfettered support for the position of the President of the 10th Senate, who also doubles as the Chairman of the National Assembly, to be conferred on His Excellency, Distinguished Senator Godswill Abass Akpabio, CON.
The group also endorsed Senator Barau Jibrin for the office of the Deputy Senate President.
With this same spirit of fairness, we also affirm our solid support that the position of Deputy Senate President of the 10th Senate be considered to distinguished Senator Barrow Jibril, CON, representing Kano North Senatorial Zone, Kano State. It is our conviction that a diverse and united legislative leadership is critical to good governance.
The non-serving lawmakers say the National Assembly requires experience and level-headed leaders at the helms of affairs at a time when the National Assembly has become politically diverse and also when the legislators need a strong leadership that will work with the executive arm of government to deepen democratic governance.
It's the first meeting of the Joint Task, an assembly of all members-elect of the 10th House of Representatives after the APC formally gave direction to zoning pattern. The chairman of the forum welcomes all members-elect and speaks to the task before them. Usman Kumu appeals to his colleagues to see reason in the party's choice.
As practitioners of guided democracy, whatever became the outcome of the mainstream political party decision, we are going to abide by it, we are going to implement it, we are going to ensure that it is adopted, unpolluted, undiluted in verbatim.
Visible at the meeting are Abass Tajudeen, Benjamin Kalu, and Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila. The meeting excused non-members-elect, and after about 2 hours, the favored members-elect answered reporters' questions. Tajudeen Abass disclosed plans to unveil his manifesto in days ahead.
By next week, we are going to do our official declaration. So we'll come out with a 16-point agenda. In that agenda, you see all the areas we are going to work on in the 10th Assembly.
Tajudeen Abass and Benjamin Kalu described their endorsement by APC as laudable. They are also determined to reach out to aggrieved colleagues.
We are in the process. We have reached out to so many and will continue reaching out to all of them. Before the end of next week, I assure you all the candidates, all the contestants will reach out to them. We will beg them, we will ask them to come on board so that we can work for the good of the institution.
The party has started the strategy for the 2027 election by making sure that they have a foot in the southeastern region. What they have done with this nomination is in the spirit of inclusion. The Southeast is going to feel the power of cohesion, and national loyalty is going to be driven by virtue of this that has taken place.
Although Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila did not make any statement before the media at the event, the sole aim of the forum is to rally support for the party's choices ahead next month's inauguration of the next assembly. A thank you visit to the president-elect for the support to emerge the party's choice. Speaker-designate Tajudeen Abass and the anointed deputy Benjamin Kalu, with a crowd of members-elect, speak of the efforts being made to win aggrieved aspirants to their side.
We believe synergy, working in a mutually beneficial manner, will be easy for us because the language you speak is the language you speak as well. So I want to assure you that we will work harmoniously together. We will cooperate in the best way possible to ensure that Nigeria wins all the time.
Granted that before now, no Southeasterner was in the presiding officer's position in the last 4 years. But this time, irrespective of the number of votes that came from Southeast, the party considered cohesion and gave us this. We are grateful.
Their host appreciates the visit. He calls on his guests to continue their engagements with colleagues with a view to wooing them for unified parliament.
My own duty, my own assignment is to reach out to all tendencies so that we shall have a rancor pre-10th assembly. As I said earlier, I've started the engagements. I will sustain that engagement. And locally, I will a little bit of influence and respect in the Federal House of Representatives.
Tajudeen Abass and Benjamin Kalu were announced on Monday when APC unveiled its zoning formula for the presiding offices of the 10th National Assembly. The announcement was met with some measure of opposition from some aspirants, but both men said they would not leave any stone unturned in their drive to win any aggrieved member-elect to their side.
Thank you for staying with us. My guest today is an honorable member in the House of Representatives. Her name is Honorable Adeumi Oriyomi Ononuga, representing Ikene Shagamu Remo Federal Constituency of Ogun State. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much.
And congratulations on your re-election. We understand that your people have, given you the mandate to return to represent them for another 4 years. And you also have, an ambition to run for the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. So tell us more about that.
Well, my people have been recommended to rerun, and they have re-elected me to represent them at the House of Representatives. And I felt the best thing to do for them and the nation and the women folk was to aspire for the seat of the Deputy Speakership of the House of Representatives.
Okay, you're one of the very few women who, made it back to the National Assembly despite the reduced number in the House or in the National Assembly in general. Tell us what this might have. How would it impact, the moving of legislations, especially as pertaining to women in the National Assembly?
What has happened is we now have the same number of women returning, albeit some are newer members. Older members didn't return. We were hoping to have our old members return and add more newer female legislators. But the newer ones, the old ones were replaced by new ones. And we now maintain the same number of 13. What that means is we have to keep on forging ahead. We work, lower than the way that we're supposed to work if we had been more than this. But it means that, we just have to keep on going with the number that we have.
So what does this mean for this bill, the women bills that currently in the National Assembly? Some, I believe, are still in the National Assembly. Some have been thrown out. But what does this mean for women legislation that is going to be brought to the National Assembly, especially with regards to the 10th Assembly?
Well, from the experience we had in the 9th Assembly, we realized that we had to put in more effort. That has to be done now, even with a lot of talking to our newer members and bringing them up to speed with what happened in the 9th Assembly, and having to work even harder than we did in the 9th Assembly, which means we have to start earlier than we did the last time so that we are able to forge ahead and make more impact this time.
Okay, so as the chairman of the Women Affairs Committee in the House of Representatives, how did you feel when recently we just had the constitution review of some critical bills, of which some women bills were part of it, and all of them were thrown out? How did this make you feel as the chairman of that committee?
It wasn't even only as the chairman of that committee, it was as a female member of the National Assembly and the nation. I felt what everybody was feeling, and it was disappointment. It was having your work going down the drain, but of course, having the fighting spirit within us. And I say that, and I know I say that on behalf of a lot of the women folk who are on this with us, is that we will not relent. We just have to keep on trucking. We can't stop and say because it was thrown out, we begin to lick our wounds. We have to get up and fight again.
But some people believe that even with the current number in the House of Representatives and in general in the National Assembly, it's going to be even more difficult, to see some women bills actually being passed at the National Assembly with this kind of low representation. Do you believe that?
Well, let me tell you something. The truth of the matter is, even when we had the low number of female members, we had a lot of men who were supporting us. It's not how many women you have that matters. It's how many people that are supporting you, how many legislators you have, how many legislators you can lobby that will be on your side, how many stakeholders you can talk to that would talk to their own legislators, how many kings, how many emirs, how many people you can actually get to be on your side, how many people you can get to lobby, which is the crux of the matter.
So are you saying there was no much lobbying, that is why this bill?
There is never enough lobbying. There was lobbying, but of course when you do something and you do not get to the mark that you want, it means that you have not done enough, so you have to do more. So even as at the time that we were going to the polls at that time, and we felt that we had done, we have crossed all the T's, we have dotted all the I's, we found out that, it still wasn't enough. So I don't think you can ever do anything enough.
When you say it's not enough, we saw the First Lady come to the chambers herself, to plead with these lawmakers. Are you trying to say that her presence is not enough to convince these lawmakers that, okay, these are bills that need to be passed, or there's actually something wrong with that piece of legislation that actually did not get in the buy-in of the male folks?
No, when you say the First Lady came to the chamber, the First Lady came to the chamber, she had the privilege of being in the chamber. She wasn't supposed to be in the chamber. So the respect that was given to her as the First Lady was already accorded to her. It was not the First Lady who was going to do the votes, decide on the votes. So what we felt was that the First Lady came as an impact to show the male folk that she was with us, which is part of the work that we did and part of the work that she did, was to let us know that she was with us in spirit and physically, for the whole world to see that it was an agitation for all women folk.
Okay, we have not seen a strong showing of the women aspiring for the office of the Speaker, even in this current race. I understand that there is one actually, coming out to be Speaker, but we don't see that much, rallying around her as we see on the side of the male folk. Are you trying? Do you believe that maybe women are being disadvantaged, are at a disadvantaged position in the National Assembly, given that we don't see them really coming out to aspire, for all these leadership positions?
Well, I wouldn't agree with you there that there isn't the support. Everyone who comes out and vies for one position or the other have the people that they would talk to support them. In an assembly of 360 members elect, when someone comes out, you have to lobby your other colleagues to say, I need you to support me. Having X amount of women, which is not as much as the men, of course you see the men more on the side of the men, and not to say that the men are not supporting us.
What does it entail? When you say a lawmaker should lobby, what does that lobbying entail? Does it come with monetary? Does it come with just talking? What does that lobbying word carry?
What it carries basically is for you to be able to put your points across, give reasons why whatever it is you're trying to get to the forefront to be supported. How do you do that? You go and talk to people. I have this on the floor of the House. I'm expecting this to be what would happen if this is supported, and I'm hoping on you, I'm relying on you to support me. What do you think about the bill? The person will give you his or her opinion about the bill, without pros, without cons, and then say to him, I think what you can tweak it a bit like this, because I don't want to support it because of these reasons. And if you're able to convince that person, not be really and truly is convincing, try to get somebody on your side to see the same thing that you see, to see from your one thing and your perspective. That's basically what lobbying is about. It's not about giving somebody money. It's about convincing the person to see something that you believe in, for them to also be able to believe in it the way that you do.
And coming back to your ambition to run for the office of the Deputy Speaker, your party, the APC, has already, zoned against your interests. You are from the Southwest, and from the consensus list that was released recently, this already stands against you. Does this discourage you in any way, or are you going to forge ahead?
The party, in its wisdom, fielded me to represent my people. And having represented my people, I found myself here. Now, the party in its wisdom, despite the fact that I aspired to, for the position of Deputy Speaker, has said, you know what, no, we think that we're going to take the Deputy Speakership to this particular zone. I do not see myself going against the party. I would engage the party. I would let the party know that I have an interest in this. I would lay my points across. I would let them understand that I believe that my zone should have that position. At the end of the day, the party would have its way because the party is supreme. And the party would say to me, look, these are the reasons why it should go to that zone, which is what they have done now at the moment anyway. Even though some fields are saying that it's still to be reviewed. Whichever way it's going to be reviewed to, I expect that, all the engagements that the party would go through.
So are you satisfied with the outcome?
Am I happy? No. Am I satisfied? No. Am I going to abide by it? Yes.
Why?
Loyalty is 100%. There is no two ways about it. You don't say it's 99.9%, it has to be 100%. And in it being 100%, it doesn't mean that you cannot speak your mind. It doesn't mean you cannot say what you feel. And what I feel is that I expected it to come to the Southwest because I feel that the Southwest is deserving, having done, the due diligence with regards to bringing, the votes to the table. Does the party see it the way that I see it? No, the party has gone that way. But now, what is the argument that is on the table now is, what is in it for the female gender? The male gender has taken all the seats, all the 4 presiding seats of the National Assembly. 0 coming to the female gender. What is coming to the female gender with regards to the principal offices that are remaining? And if the party is still going to have a tweak around the zoning formula according to what the grapevine is saying, is the party going to consider the female gender, especially those who have come out to aspire for these positions?
So is there still lobbying going on? Because we understand that the national chairman of your party has told people to shit their swords, they should calm down. There are talks still going on. Now, are these talks still, is there any hope? Is there any light at the end of the tunnel?
Which is what we consider to be engagements, lobbying, like you said. There are a lot of aggrieved aspirants, of which I am one. And everyone is taking their grievances to the party and saying we do not feel it should be this way. Everybody wants to be endorsed, but at the end of the day, the party has the wisdom to say these and these and these are the reasons why we are doing this. When we had the Muslim ticket and the vice president-elect and the vice president-elect, the whole nation was agog with why should it be like that? And the party gave its reasons, and at the end of the day, we have a president-elect and a vice president-elect on the wisdom of the party. Now, if the party is saying, okay, we are talking about equity, about fairness, we are also saying, where is the gender balance in this fairness and in this equity? And, in the goods that were delivered from the Southwest as against any other zone, the goods that were delivered by the Northwest as against any other zone, the goods that were delivered by the North Central as against any other zone. So each zone is clamoring and bringing what it has brought to the table, on the table, to say, this is what I have delivered. How comes I'm not being considered? How more, or where is the equity in what I have delivered? So that's what the engagements are all about. And that's what the lobbying is all about.
Let's close this conversation this way. A lot of people have already questioned the fact that the party is interfering in the affairs of the 10th National Assembly. They believe that lawmakers are supposed to be the ones, to make the decision of who they believe in to lead them. And, them being involved has already raised a lot of dust. But in your own opinion, do you think what the party is doing is actually right? Or do you think lawmakers should be allowed to make their decision themselves?
Without a doubt, lawmakers are supposed to make their decisions themselves. However, the party is supposed to give direction. Now, like I was saying to you before, there is wisdom in the way that the party directs the affairs of the party. there was wisdom when the party decided to field all the members elect that it fielded when they were given the party ticket. Everybody came to the National Assembly on the platform of a party. So if that party had the wisdom to field you to come and represent it at that National Assembly, it just presupposes that the party should be able to give direction as to where it hopes the leadership of the National Assembly and the executive should go. So yes, the members should be allowed to choose their leaders by themselves. The party, however, is also supposed to give direction. Now, has the party gone around it the right way? The party needs to engage the aspirants some more, needs to consider the feelings of the aspirants a lot more, needs to say to them, okay, this is what we are thinking. What do you think about it? And if there are too many people saying, no, it should be this way, then the party should give reasons why it thinks that it should go into this way.
But some of your colleagues believe that even the choice of the party seems to, be in favor of some particular candidate it has selected in its consensus list. Do you agree with that?
No,
it's on grounds of favoritism.
What the party has done is zone to a particular place. There are times when you zone and you micro-zone, and there will be reasons for you doing that. Now, has the party been asked why it went to the extent of what it did? I need to be frank with you. I'm not saying that I am in support in all totality of what the party has done. But would I go with what the party has done? I will. Because by the time you sit down with the party and say, okay, let us see the skeleton of why you have done this thing this way, we might see some wisdom in it. So are we going to, that's why I said the party needs to engage aspirants some more. Tempers that are already high should be brought down by saying, okay, sit down, let's all talk about this. Why are you, being so upset? If I had supported you, would you be this upset? I am supporting this person now, and you're being upset. Let's put everything on the table and let's begin to pick and say why we are doing this or why we should do this. I think engagement is key.